Welcome to math class. This week we're going to be talking about centimeters and meters, and they are part of the metric system. Let's review just a little bit. We've talked about the inch, foot, yard, and the mile. And then we reviewed or learned about perimeter, and we talked about how that's the distance around something. Here is a ruler, and you can see the inches right there. But what are all those upside down numbers? Let's turn it over and take a look. You see that little cm, that stands for centimeters. So a centimeter, as you can see, is shorter, because even though this is upside down, you can still tell that from this 12 to the 11 is an inch. Okay, so it's about 2.5 centimeters per inch, but 1 centimeter is shorter than 1 inch. But that doesn't change the size of an object. So let's say I were to measure this dry erase marker. It would be almost 14 centimeters. Okay, now the marker didn't change size at all, but if I flip it over and measure it in inches, okay, it is about 5.5 inches. So even though the marker didn't change size, the way we explain that size does change. So we have, we can also, as I mentioned, we could measure something. If I were to tell you that this is 5 centimeters, and I'm just going to tell you that all sides are equal, okay? I'm not going to have to measure it right now because we're pretending that every side is equal and that every side of this triangle is 5 centimeters, okay? So each of these would be, and this, by the way, would be called an equilateral triangle because all sides are equal. So that would be 5, and how many times do we have the number 5? We have it 3 times, okay? And so that is equal to 15 centimeters. So really I would do 5 centimeters times 3 equals 15 centimeters. Okay? Now, if I were to measure these itty bitty teeny tiny ants that are crawling near me on the sidewalk, I would have to use something much smaller. And one thing that we are not going to have to measure with yet, let's see if any more come. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You would use a smaller unit, and we could even use maybe millimeters, which are smaller than centimeters. Again, that's not something that we're going to measure with quite yet, but it is good to know that if you see mm, that stands for millimeters. And I think I just really wanted to record the ants. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. I have my daughter's pony here, and one thing I wanted to talk about was the way when you measure, whether you're measuring liquid in a measuring cup or measuring the length of something, the angle that you look at it makes a difference in how long it appears to be. So if you want to get an accurate measurement, you want to look from directly above. If you've ever noticed at the doctor's office, they might put a ruler right over your head so that way they can see exactly how tall you are, and they'll put a ruler over your head. So I've kind of imitated that by putting a ruler over here to the side so we can see exactly how where the nose ends up on the ruler down here. So this measures 3.5 inches. Okay, but we talked about just a minute ago about how we're doing centimeters now. So let's flip the ruler over, and you can see that this says cm for centimeters. Okay, and I want to see it's about 9 centimeters, maybe 8.5 centimeters. Yes, about 8.5 centimeters. Okay, so the pony did not change size, but if we measured in centimeters, anybody who has a ruler with centimeters, it's going to read the same amount. no matter what. And remember to always start at the 0. Don't start at the 1, but start at the 0. And then that way, wherever it ends up, that's how long it is. So that would be the length. If we wanted to measure the height, then we would start, and I might use, use my little method here to get over to the, oh, and if I look directly above it, not with my phone, if I look with the phone, it looks like it's not at the right spot, but using my eyes, then this gets you right at 0. Okay, so then at the top of her ears, I'm gonna look directly above, and it is right at 11 centimeters. And my phone's angle makes it look like I'm measuring halfway down the ears, but if you look directly where my eyes are looking, which is like this, then you can tell that it's not. So isn't that interesting how with my camera back here, it looks like I'm not measuring correctly, but if you look directly above the pony's ears, then you can tell that I'm measuring right at the top of the ears. Okay, so the angle of your eyes really matters, especially if, I know this is measuring length, but let's say you were, again, measuring in the kitchen, and you were measuring a liquid measurement, which is a different way of measuring, but the angle that you look at it is so important, especially if, like, let's say you're getting the right amount of medicine. If you look like this, you might be getting not enough medicine. If you're looking from this way, then you might get too much medicine if you're trying to look at the side of the cup. So the angle that you're looking at is very important. Okay, so that's one thing to think about for accurate measuring, is the angle. Alright, so I wanted to measure one more toy, and this guy, let's see, there's starting at the 0. His length is, get right above it, about 19 centimeters. So let's see what that is in inches, how that compares. About 7.5, maybe? Yeah, that's right. About 7.5 inches. Okay, so there's a difference. The dinosaur did not change shape at all, but the measurement in centimeters is different than it would be in inches. Alright, so let's compare our two toys. I'm going to show you some ways to do that. So if the dino was 19 centimeters in length, I'm going to go ahead and mark that on here. I'm going to get from 0 to 19. And since we haven't worked a lot with halves yet, I'm going to round up to 9 centimeters for the pony. And that way we have a number that we're used to working with. And but 8.5 was the pony if you want to work with fractions. Alright, so let's go to 9. So how can we tell the difference? I'm going to use that word difference. How can we tell the difference between the two lengths? One thing that I have noticed a lot is that when I see students see the word difference, they think that, oh, well, the dinosaur is longer than the pony. That's the difference. But difference is a math term. Difference is talking about subtraction. So difference is a subtraction word, and that is the answer in a subtraction problem. So if you look at the difference between the two, and we know that this one is 19 centimeters, I'm going to go ahead and make that into a rectangle so we can see, and it's not a perfect rectangle, but that's okay. 19 centimeters. And this one is 9 centimeters because the pony was approximately 9 centimeters long. Okay, so how the difference between the two is the distance from here to here. Because the pony and the dinosaur, they are both at least 9 centimeters, but the dinosaur keeps going past 9 centimeters. But how far past 9 centimeters does it go? Well, you can do that by comparing these two numbers and finding the difference, which is subtraction. So I am going to do 19, that's this total, and if I take away these 9 centimeters, that's going to give me this amount right here, and that's going to tell me what my answer is. Okay, so 9 minus 9 is 0. Now let's go over to the tens place. 110 minus, no tens, is still 110 because I didn't take anything away. Okay, so let's move this just a little bit. So that'd be 10. So the difference in the length between the dinosaur and the pony is 10 centimeters. So how do we check our work? Well, remember that subtraction and addition are opposite of each other. So if we add back up this way, then 10 plus 9, so that way we add these two numbers together, they should equal 19 if we got our answer right, if we subtracted correctly. So let's do 10 plus 9 centimeters. 9, let's do the ones column first. 0 plus 9 is 9, and 1 plus no other tens is still 110. Okay, so we have 19 centimeters, and this is just checking our answer. So did we get it right? Yes, because 9 plus 10 is 19. Okay, so the difference between the two lengths is 10 centimeters. And we know we got it right because we checked our work and we did the opposite of subtraction, which is addition, and we got our top answer. Okay, so how much, the kind of question that you might see with this in a story problem would be, how much longer is the dino than the pony? Or like I said, what is the difference between them? And they're not asking about the physical characteristics like we talked about in science. They're talking about the math term, which is subtraction. Okay, and you will recognize that. One more little review here. We talked about this a lot in class. Minuend is the top number. Subtrahend is the number that you are taking away or finding the difference between. So that's the next number. And then the difference is the answer. Minuend, subtrahend, difference. And we use that term a lot when we said, when the subtrahend is greater, borrow from the neighbor. Okay, in this case we didn't have to do that. Alright, well, let me know if you have questions about this, and tomorrow when you try your Pathblazer, unless you want to try it today, the folder's already set up, but you will see some problems very similar to this. And so try it on your own, maybe measure two different toys and find the difference between their lengths, or maybe even the difference between their heights. Good luck with that, and again, let me know if you have any questions.